I recently had the opportunity to pick up a moderate to large sized MetaZoo Cryptid Nation First Edition base set sealed collection. Booster boxes, theme decks, box toppers, all kinds of stuff. And I thought, what a fun opportunity to show the things that I look for when I'm picking up a high value sealed MetaZoo collection and compare it to differences seen from the Kickstarter base set and the second edition base sets that are out right now. Let's just dive into it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Argos Anonymous. I am Argos. Before we dive too deep into all this awesome Seal Collection stuff, I just want to say, if you haven't found the channel before and you just sort of stumbled across us from out there in the interweb, consider joining us. We are everything MetaZoo, up-to-date accurate news and information, product reviews, safety alerts, box openings, ridiculous shenanigans, games and giveaways, live streams, all kinds of random stuff. If that sounds like something you would like, then subscribe, and that's what you'll get. The Cryptid Nation base set has a lot of interesting characteristics, particularly pertaining to the sealed products. They have the evolution of different product sizes, they have different pack material, they have different cardstock between the different prints, they have different void stickers, all kinds of stuff. That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm just going to go and review this seal collection that I just picked up for a gentleman looking to move into more MetaZoo. As is often the case over the last year, we find that we have already spent all of our money on MetaZoo, and so when we want more MetaZoo, we sometimes have to sell the MetaZoo we have to buy the MetaZoo we want. And so that's what happened here. This gentleman had a rather large Cryptid Nation base set first edition collection, and he wanted more other stuff, and so I was able to help him out with that because Cryptid Nation, the liquidity is wild. The first edition base set stuff is so easy to move. A lot of people want it. The price has been relatively stable over the last several months compared to other products, although at first it was insane. Am I right? Anyway, so yeah, I was fortunately able to help him out. We came to a deal, and then he got the other stuff that he wanted, and now we have a chance to make a fun video. So let's just go enjoy some sealed product, talk about the differences, learn about the differences, and enjoy MetaZoo, and let's dive into it. So a gentleman came to me and said, Argos, I love the zoo. I want more zoo. The problem is I've already spent all my money on the zoo. And so he said he had what I'm going to call a medium-sized Cryptid Nation First Edition base set sealed collection, and he wanted to buy some other MetaZoo stuff, and I thought we came to an agreement. I was able to help him out, and there's a long list of people who would like to buy this stuff, so it's pretty easy for me to sort of pick it up and move it to a new home. That's not a big deal. And I thought, what a great opportunity to show you fine people of MetaZoo some of the differences between Cryptid Nation First Edition base set and the new Cryptid Nation Second Edition base set and the original Cryptid Nation base set Kickstarter. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to show this and just kind of tell the story. So, when Cryptid Nation First Edition base set came out in July of 2021, it was pretty wild. Like it was 10 times the print run of the Kickstarter, but which people thought at first they thought that was kind of crazy to see such a large increase, but then it sold out just instantly, and prices went up so high instantly with first edition that it really was a wild ride. I mean, prices of these were priced at what were they? I think $100 a box was what the MSRP was on the booster boxes of first edition, but they went up to $800 within like a week, and then crashed down to $400, and then went back to $800, and then $600, and then $1,000. I mean, it's been a roller coaster for this product. So anyway, quite interesting. So this gentleman, what it looks like he had about 10 of the spell books sitting around, and then he had about 5 extra sealed first edition booster boxes that he hadn't even opened, and then he had a pile of opened booster boxes, right? That I think what he did, because I bought some box toppers from him also, I think the gentleman opened them to get the box toppers, and then was thinking about, I don't know, selling the box toppers separately, or maybe opening the box toppers to chase the legendary red ink, which is probably what we'll do with these. I think we'll sell the packs and everything, but it's really hard for me not to open these box toppers because I still haven't pulled a red ink. So, I think we got five toppers in here. Well, we'll pull it out in a minute. Anyway, that's his story. And then he had a new acquisition that he wanted to make that he was really, really excited about. And he had this sealed stuff. And as is often the case, with seal collectors and collectibles, we end up, buying, selling, and trading the things we have as our interests shift. So let's start with Kickstarter and just kind of talk about the changes that took place between the base sets. So the Kickstarter product came out, and it was pretty small print run. They made 2,500 Kickstarter booster boxes. They only made 1,000 Kickstarter spellbooks. One thing that I think is interesting is that the Kickstarter products are actually significantly smaller than the first edition and second edition packaging, and it's quite a bit different. It's kind of cool. Like this is a Kickstarter spellbook. It's got that little K in the bottom, but look, the orientation and size is totally different than a first edition spellbook. The Kickstarter spellbook goes horizontal. The first edition goes vertical. And even the sizing is different. Look at that. It's like, that's a big boy. The first edition's a big boy. And then if you look at the second edition Cryptid Nation spellbook, it's the same as the first edition, except for, of course, that second edition stamp, but the same size and orientation. Also on the Kickstarter, so on the first edition products, you had this first edition void sticker. But a couple of things were different about the first edition sticker for the first edition base set versus the Kickstarter. The first thing is this is a void sticker that will change to void when you peel it. Like you'll actually see the word void, and you have one on the top and one on the bottom. But in the Kickstarter product, it's actually not a void sticker. If you peel it off, it doesn't say void. It has a different holographic pattern to the sticker, and there's a sticker on the top, but there's no sticker on the bottom of Kickstarter. So if you buy a Kickstarter product and you're like, well, I see the sticker on the top, but I don't see one on the bottom, you're not getting hosed. That's just the product design. Like here's a Kickstarter booster box. We've got the sticker on the top, and we have no sticker on the bottom, and that is totally normal. Another thing you can have sometimes is the MetaZoo shrink wrap. Has a little bit of variance. See how you have like a gold and black MetaZoo stamped on there? And sometimes the alignment is really on point. Like sometimes the black MetaZoo and the yellow MetaZoo line up pretty well, but sometimes they don't. See how it's a little bit off on this base set as well? Sometimes the sizes are different. Like the black MetaZoo can be a little bit smaller than the gold. It's interesting. Like there's a little bit of variability as far as the shrink wrap is concerned. So let's see what else is different here. Let's open up a Kickstarter booster box and kind of show what's going on there compared to the first edition and the second edition. So when you dive into a Kickstarter booster box, did I just fill these with? Oh, these don't have the map in it. So inside a Kickstarter booster box, you actually have a Kickstarter map instead of a box topper. And it looks like I have already just filled these with Kickstarter singles very lamely. But if we opened this, at the very top of this, you would have a Kickstarter map of the Cryptid Nation, like the United States, showing the location of a bunch of different cryptids and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. And then if you open a first edition box, you're not going to get a map in the top. Instead, you're going to get one of these box toppers that can have 1 of 10 holographic aura, or it can have a holographic secret rare red ink. So that's a difference. And then, of course, in the second edition, the only change was instead of a red ink and holographic aura, you're getting holographic Terra, and you can get a secret rare blue ink. So other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. He also had a ton of these theme decks. So the gentleman had about 50, 60 some odd first edition theme decks, which is great. I like these little things. These things move really easily. You can just buy these and sell these things all day. People like them. Actually, almost all first edition, the liquidity is incredible. People are buying and selling these things. The prices are relatively stable for first edition compared to a lot of other products. So it's a nice thing to be able to offer people to be able to pick up first edition and help them buy other stuff. Of note, similar to other Kickstarter products, the first edition Kickstarter theme decks were also smaller, or I guess just different orientations. They were like a little bit thicker than the first edition and second edition theme decks, and they were a little bit shorter. See that little guy? He's a little chunky little guy. Same thing with the void stickers. They both say first edition, but they're different. The holographic pattern of Kickstarter void stickers are different, or Kickstarter stickers, and the first edition base set non-Kickstarter has the void sticker where when you peel it off, it'll actually say void, and it has it on the top and the bottom, whereas the Kickstarter doesn't. It's got this thing. If you peel it off, it just, it peels off, and it doesn't have one on the bottom either. People have asked, what's the difference between a Kickstarter coin and a non-Kickstarter coin? Because there's no K, right? So you got to look at the date. They'll both say first edition, but the Kickstarter coin, it's hard to see in the camera, but trust me, on the bottom left of this coin, the Kickstarter coins will say 2020, and the first edition base set coins and the second edition coins will say 2021. So that's how you know. If you have a 2020 coin, it's Kickstarter no matter where it's from. The other thing about the first edition that's kind of interesting, that was a big, what to do at the time, is damage. So when the Kickstarter shipped, for whatever reason, it wasn't as much of an issue that I saw. But in the first edition base set, what happened was these little puppies were shipped, the booster boxes specifically, but also the spell books. They were shipped in large cases that had no inner cases. And so what happens during shipping then, because there were 18 booster boxes per factory case with no inner cases. And so what happens during shipping is they're all sitting on top of each other, and like things bump around and they just get smushed. And so a very common thing with sealed Cryptid Nation first edition is going to be creases and smushed corners. And this is something that maybe newer people might not expect when they're buying and selling these things. You've got to just know that most of the print run has little like creases and stuff like that because they were just smushed. And the ones that didn't were the ones that were like on top or miraculously preserved. So when you do have like a pristine, a really sharp corner box without creases, that is a treasured item because most of the print run got kind of bruised, right? And so if you have that minty first edition box, hang on to it, study it, treasure it, speak softly to it, watch Netflix with it, do what you have to do to keep it safe because that is a treasured little item. They fixed it with second edition by let's go over and take a look. This is what I'm talking about. This is a big 18 box case of base set first edition MetaZoo. It's upside down, but see, it's a pretty big box. You can see like the size of the boxes up top, and then below it you've just got this massive case, and inside that there's no inner cases. And then this is how they changed it for Cryptid Nation base set second edition, where you have a master case containing 2 inner cases of 6 boxes. So a factory case of second edition base set is going to have just a total of 12 boxes distributed among 2 cases, whereas the first edition had 18 boxes just kind of piled into a case. So it made a really big difference. These second edition boxes came out looking really crispy. Nightfall was the same way. They shipped Nightfall in factory cases of 12 boxes, and then there were 2 inner cases of 6 boxes each, and the boxes of Nightfall came out really minty as well. Another interesting difference is the difference in the pack material between Kickstarter and first edition and second edition. So like this is a Kickstarter booster pack. Notice it says 9 additional cards because in Kickstarter there were only 9 cards per pack. And then it has a K at the bottom. The pack material is, I really like it a lot, except for one critical flaw. It has a good feel to it. It opened, a little difficulty on opening until you figure out how to really use that black tab. If you don't use the black tab, you're SOL. But what we saw was that with Kickstarter, the packages were really tight. I guess I don't have a non-open Kickstarter pack here, but the bottom line is the top to bottom, like the width of extra spacing in the Kickstarter booster pack, there's not very much. So you can't really move the cards around very much in the Kickstarter booster pack, which becomes relevant in a moment when we talk about the first edition booster packs. So in first edition, they used the same pack material, but for whatever reason, there was a much larger tail on the booster packs. So like this booster pack, just see how the you can see where the print cuts off. Like we're already getting into the silver just above this collectible card game. Whereas in the first edition pack, you have this extra amount of tail on here. What this allowed people to do in first edition is they're able to move the cards around. And if you're a particularly obsessed, sleuthy person, and depending on how broad this bottom tail is, because the width of the seal down here is a little bit different. So some packs, though, in first edition, not in Kickstarter and not in second edition, but in first edition base set, some packs you're able to look through and like shine a light through there and search the cards. But to be honest, it's although you can do it, sometimes it's actually it's kind of a pain in the butt. Like it takes quite a while, and in order to do it, you have to kind of jack up the pack. So I would say if you do buy a first edition pack, and if it's like, because you have to slide the cards around one by one, and you have to do it by like using a device or your fingernail and like scratching at the top of the pack and like pushing it down to the bottom and then coming in from the side and doing all this stuff. So I mean, like, if you get a pack that's like particularly jacked up, it's just like old Magic. Like the packs of old Magic that have been searched, like you can't just do it without messing up the pack, you know? So if you get a pack that's all jacked up and technically sealed, like maybe it was searched or maybe they tried, but it is tough. If you try it at home and you try shining light, you'll see what I mean. Like, you might be able to do it on one, and you may or may not be able to replicate it. It can be done. It's something to keep in mind. It can be done, but it's a pain in the butt. So you can't do it on Kickstarter because there isn't enough room to move the cards around. So yeah, you can't effectively search Kickstarter pack. And then what they did is, after they heard that some scrupulous, ill-mannered human beings might be searching some first edition packs, they then changed the material for second edition Cryptid Nation packs, and they made it more reflective. It's like a thicker foil. Same with Nightfall. Actually, from Nightfall going forward, it's all been thicker material, so you can't search it. I mean, you still have to deal with the normal issues of, I don't know, reseals and like all the other normal card game shenanigans. But, you know, and people now it doesn't matter because there's enough value, but someday people will look for glue and they'll do all the stuff like they do for Pokemon. But for the short term, though, I don't know. I think buying loose packs is actually mostly okay. Loose packs for second edition is fine. Loose packs for Kickstarter are fine unless people have found a way to reseal them effectively, like any other game. But you can't search them. And then I just think, honestly, I think searching first edition is such a pain in the butt. I would bet you most people don't do it. One of the things that happen when the boxes get bumped around in shipping, once they switched to the void stickers, you had an interesting thing happen where, because the height of the box is just a little bit, it's so tall that there's a little bit of loose space like in the top of the box for first edition. So the tops can get pushed down a bit. And if you look at the void sticker here, it doesn't say void, but if you go through and you check, or maybe we have it on spellbooks. Let's check the spellbooks. Yeah, that's where I had it. So if you go through and you just check your stickers, you'll come across something eventually where the sticker has voided itself in shipping. Here we go. Here's a good one. So see this spellbook get kind of beat up a little bit, like it's got some creasing along the side. This is a very typical appearance of like a first edition base set product, like it's still sealed, it hasn't been opened, there's no foul play here, it just got bruised in the shipping process. And so this one in particular, the sticker voided itself. So it must have been pushed down enough that the sticker popped off a little bit and then created that void appearance. You can see like the D's on it, compared to the non-voided sticker here where there's no extra letters and stuff like that. There we go. So that is also not a sign of foul play. Typically, this is just a sign of a product that voided itself under the shrink wrap while it was being shipped. And it's not very common, but it definitely does happen. So by the time you guys even see this video, I probably will have already sold. I mean, not that I don't love holding this. It's just I already have the position of first edition that I want to have. I already have. So I'll probably have already sold these sealed boxes because they sell pretty much instantly. And then I'll have posted the booster pack, the loose packs on the ArgosAnon.com website as pack arts and loose packs, whatever. And I'll probably put spellbooks on there and theme decks on there. And then I'll keep the box toppers to make a fun like opening video to chase the red ink. And and I think that'll be cool. We haven't had a lot of first edition on the website for a while, so it'll be nice to give people some options of some other cool base set first edition Cryptid Nation stuff to get their hands on, to sink their teeth into. I think we're definitely going to have to do a video opening these box toppers. I was wondering if I should like sell them as opening, I don't know, things for people, or what I should do with them. But I just can't, like, I haven't pulled a secret rare yet, and I'm kind of like, I really want to do it, and so I think I'm just gonna open these. We'll make a fun little video about it, and if we hit a red ink, we'll throw a little, like, you know, ice cream party or something. If you're still here and you haven't yet subscribed, consider joining us once again. We are everything MetaZoo, all kinds of random fun stuff, man. Just click the button and jump on in. Also, keep in mind, before the Wilderness release at the end of the month, my wife Gaia and I are going to be doing like a fun, like a weekend live stream of Wilderness live pack opening and product opening, probably just all weekend. We're going to do games and giveaways, Dice of Destiny, probably some duck races and random other shenanigans. You'll be able to go to the argosanon.com website and buy Wilderness packs and Wilderness products and have them opened in front of everybody on the channel and chase those serial cards that we know are hidden somewhere in Wilderness. I think it's going to be a really fun time, some ridiculous shenanigans. So keep an eye out for that. I don't know exactly what weekend it'll be, but it'll probably be the weekend before the release date, so that we can get everything shipped out by release. Anyway, watch for that. I'll make another announcement when I know the specifics of it, but that's all I've got for now. Thank you, MetaFam, for stopping by. I always appreciate this opportunity to entertain the fine people of MetaZoo. This is Argos, signing out.